Because my job actually at Carers Trust is as the Dementia and Older Carers Policy and Development Officer. So I'm out there raising the needs of carers that care for somebody with dementia and older carers who care for whoever they care for. So that does include people who care for someone with a mental health condition or a substance misuse condition, etc. It's very big in learning disabilities as well, the older carers caring for adults. So I've left my boss's details up there because actually she leads on Triangle of Care. So if any of you want any more information about it, then she is the person to contact. So it makes sort of sense in some respects. And I didn't want to mess up a PowerPoint either and get in trouble. So the Triangle of Care. Has anyone here heard about the Triangle of Care? Fantastic. NSFT have just got a gold award for the Triangle of Care, so congratulations to them. So it's nice to hear that some people have. So first of all, I'll talk a little bit about Carers Trust and who we are. So we're a UK-wide organisation, and it was created from a merger between two long-standing charities, and that was the Princess Royal Trust for Carers, Princesses Royal Trust for Carers, always get prince and princesses muddled up there, and Crossroads, which many of you may have heard of. So the Princess Royal Trust for Carers tended to deliver carer services such as advice, information, training programs, one-to-one support, that sort of thing. And Crossroads deliver what we call regulated services. So they will have somebody who will go in and replace the care that somebody might be giving to a friend or relative, so that the carer gets a break that suits them. And as I say, the two charities merged some while ago to form the Carers Trust. We also have, as you can see, we have quite a number of networks around the country. Suffolk Family Carers is actually a network partner of Carers Trust. At the moment, CAP isn't, but you have been working with us on the pharmacy project. So that's about getting local pharmacies to recognise carers, and because we have this theory, which I'm sure is right, that many carers are always picking up prescriptions for other people and for themselves, because carers themselves have quite poor health, and to try and get carers to identify themselves in that way. Because one of the biggest issues about carers is they don't always recognise themselves as such, They'll say, well, I'm the mother, the father, the daughter, the son, husband, wife of this person, it's what I do. Not taking account of the extra strain that they put upon their own life and the things that they give up in order to make sure somebody else lives as best they can in their community. So, we also have lots of young carers projects that are affiliated as well to Carers Trust. Okay, just trying to see if I can work the IT or go to the... So nationally, what Carers Trust do, just to sort of sum it up really, is we do lots of work around policy, developing resources that can be used locally, and trying to push through change for carers to get better recognition. So Carers Trust had quite a big impact on the new Care Act in getting carers, they call parity of esteem, equality with the person that they care for, so that they get a really good assessment, hopefully. Okay, so why is the Triangle of Care needed? So the Triangle of Care was developed by Carers Trust to try and form a better relationship between the carer, the person that is using services, whatever services they might be, and the professional, so that they all work together. And this diagram sort of shows about how it doesn't work very well. So things are fed up and down the line, so there's miscommunication, and it's of no help to anybody really. So, and it leads to carers being excluded at certain points, and I think a lady up there was just earlier said about the difficulties of getting information, and we all have a right to privacy. Sorry, coming out the mic there. And there's things that we don't want people to know about. We all have those things that we don't want our parents or our friends to know about. But it doesn't prevent professionals giving relatives general information about things. So you could say, somebody usually who presents with these symptoms may well have this condition, or this, these are the drugs that are normally used in this condition, you can go and have a look at them. So just to give very general information about how people are, yes, they're fine. So just to put people's mind at ease. And carers do have the right to know if somebody is coming home and into their care, if either of them is at risk in any way. Okay, so I think sometimes we get quite embedded in confidentiality and forget that we can talk very generally to people who are concerned about a relative. My boss always sort of says about people, you know, who are unconscious in A&E, you know, they don't not talk to the relative, you know. Yet if somebody goes into an acute mental health hospital with a severe psychosis, it's very different. You know, they won't necessarily talk to the relative if the person who's unwell says no. So requests for information and support and advice are not heard, and carers are unique and expert, and things can be missed. And it's really important to know as well that even if the person who's not unwell doesn't want the relative involved in their care, the carer can get support from other organisations. So, for example, CAP in Norfolk and Suffolk Family Carers in Suffolk. They will support carers regardless of whether the person that they look after even recognises their own condition. You know, and if they don't want to recognise their parent or their friend as a carer, that carer can still get confidential support from a carers organisation, which can be really beneficial. Okay, there we go. So what is the triangle of care? So, it's a triangle, funnily enough. And as you can see, everybody working together. Okay. And it was developed by a group of carers, led by an author who has he had fostered two sons, and they both had both diagnosed with schizophrenia, so he got very involved in wanting to influence services and such like, and he helped design the Triangle of Care. And it's based on experiences from inpatient mental health services over a number of years. And the first edition was published in 2010. So the first one was the, I don't know if it actually says up there, that's the standards. Let me just go back on, because I don't want to spoil your excitement. So, yeah, it started off, there was a Triangle of Care for adult mental health. So it was really targeted at acute mental health services. So inpatient wards, assertive outreach teams as they were then, those sort of services, really to get people working together. Since then, we have worked with the Royal College of Nursing to develop a Triangle of Care for dementia, which is my particular bag at the moment. And that's the document there is very much targeted at acute general hospitals where people with dementia often find themselves. So, to sort of sum it up, it's like a guide of good practice in how to work with carers and in the triangle. So, oh yeah, and we just have a new one, sorry, I forgot about that. We just launched a new one called the Triangle of Care for Young Adult Carers. So again, that's about how professionals working in hospitals and community teams can engage better with younger carers and what it is that would help them. Okay, so the guidance has 6 standards, which I have here. So I'll read them out. Carers have an essential role they play as identified at the first contact and thereafter if possible. So quite an easy one really. So if somebody comes into hospital, someone says, oh hello, are you the main carer for this person, or do you have any involvement in supporting this person? There can be posters up saying who is the carer lead on that ward, that sort of thing. Staff are care aware, so you know, come to events like this and also to other training programs. I used to go around Suffolk and Norfolk delivering care awareness training to the community teams and the hospital teams. So that was part of probably why the Trust got their nice gold award, because they did invite people in to talk. Policy and protocols about confidentiality and information sharing are in place. So that's a little bit about what I spoke about before. And Tyne and Weir, Northumberland Tyne and Weir do a fantastic document called Common Sense and Confidentiality. If anyone's interested in getting some common sense from confidentiality, I would recommend that. You just Google it, it comes up. And so defined posts responsible for carers are in place. So our very own Howard, who had to rush off today for other reasons, is the carers lead in the area that he works. And more we do see people who are identified as the carers champion or the carers lead, who make it their business to be much more aware of what's available in the local area for carers. quite often set up fantastic carers groups where people can meet and find out more information. A carer introduction to the service, and staff is available when a relevant range of information across the acute pathway. So that's just making sure that there is somebody available for the carer to speak to. And again, even if the person who's unwell doesn't want a lot of their information divulged, that carer should still be able to meet with somebody on the ward or in the community team to tell them what their worries are and their concerns are and be listened to. They may well give some fantastically important information, valuable information about the person, which will help them enormously. Okay, and a range of carer support services are available. Quite often the last one is done in conjunction with other organisations. So again, for example, in Norfolk that would be CAP, and in Suffolk it was Suffolk Family Carers. So when we first went in and helped Woodlands, the acute hospital in Ipswich, do their self-assessment, they ticked lots as red that they had nowhere near come to meet the standards of the triangle of care. And we corrected them and said that a lot of them you have. So the bottom one, you offer a small range of support within your hospital, but because you have a partnership with us and a really good relationship, and you refer over to Suffolk Family Carers, then you can tick that. It's not always about delivering it yourself, it's about knowing what's available in the local area and having a good referral process and such like. So, and also there are regular assessing and auditing to ensure the 6 key elements of carer engagement exist. So, that you have the Triangle of Care document, unfortunately I don't have one on me, but and it goes through the 6 standards, and at the back there's like a red, yellow and green bit where you audit yourself to see whether you're meeting the standards, and then people just sort of move through and check that they're still continuing to do that. Okay, so there's a national programme for the Triangle of Care, as I mentioned, and I'll say again, NSFT just got the Gold Award, which we're really pleased about. So it was, sorry, we're done with that.
Can you just tell us what the Gold Award is?
It's just, I think it's just it's more a recognition. You don't get like anything in gold because we're not very affluent charity, but it's a recognition really. I'm sure they get a certificate. But it means that you've met the 6 standards that I went back to. So they have to, each trust would have to self-assess each service that they have. And so it would be acute services, and then they should go on to do community services after that. So yeah. So if you don't think that they are meeting their standard, you can pull them up and say, "Oh, hang on a minute, you're signed up to the Triangle of Care, but we don't think you're doing it in this area." Because the problem when you've got a very big trust, you see pockets of absolutely fantastic stuff and things where maybe people haven't quite grasped it yet. So it's a way you can pull them up by saying you signed up to this, because NSFT are signed up to the Triangle of Care. And just hasten to add that it's only the adult mental health services Triangle of Care that has the award scheme and the recognition. The other 2 have been designed as a practical guide for people to, just as a best practice example and to help you through that really. Okay, so the benefits of the Triangle of Care, we've covered some of them already. I'll just whiz through them because we're running out of time. We don't want to be late for Professor Nutt. So is the recognition of a carer, which is really important in order for them to look after their own needs as well as those of the person that they care for. An appreciation of the carer's unique knowledge about the person they care for. They're quite often with them 24/7 and have been caring for them for some years. Emotional and practical support, enabling carers to have a life of their own alongside their caring role. Helping carers to feel part of a team and less isolated. Creating a more helpful, supportive relationship with carers. Giving carers a service uses realistic expectations, so making sure people understand the system and how health and social care works and what they have to offer. I think because we work in it, or we've been involved in it for many, many years, become complacent about how complicated this system is. I always try and relate things. If someone chucked me in a physics lab and told me to do an experiment over there with some wacky thing, I wouldn't have a clue what I was doing. And that's how it must feel if for years you've been, for example, a school teacher, and then you come in and you have somebody who's just admitted into an acute mental health hospital. You know, it's the equivalent. it's a place that you don't understand. And I think we forget to explain how things work to relatives and to people that use services, I hasten to add. So, ensuring staff have information about service users, moods, behaviours, and the best way to interact with them. So carers can give some really good hints and tips about what people like and appreciate. Provide an organisation to look at how they currently engage and include carers and get outside the box. So Kevin was speaking about, because you do service user engagement, I think there's quite a lot of carer engagement as well in NSFT. I always think it's quite amazing how, you know, in mental health trusts we tend to have a lot more service user and carer engagement than you do in acute trusts.
However, we don't have anything as snazzy as gold stars to sign up to for service user involvement.
Oh, neat.
So there's a gap.
Yeah, get the mental health, Mental Health Foundation on board. They could devise one. Yeah. Increase staff awareness and understand. We said that. And provide staff with the opportunity to influence blocks, IT systems that are not suitable. So ways that they can register the carers' involvement and such like. Okay. So this is about the membership scheme, and I've just quickly gone through it because NSFT are a member, so the PowerPoint is designed for people who are thinking about becoming a member as well. But they are, and they're doing quite well. So there's 50 mental health trusts involved throughout the regions of the UK who are in England, who are involved in the Triangle of Care and have signed up to that good practice. So it's really spreading. Involvement varies from organisation to an organisation, and we just said even within an organisation sometimes that can vary. We need to recognise that those working on implementation and develop a motivation for those who are not. So that's about good pockets of practice, bringing up other places that might be struggling to understand how the Triangle of Care can be implemented. So bring one another along there. It's a motivator, of course, for mental health trusts, and the membership scheme is, let's say NSFT is a member, and it just helps people sort of see what other trusts are doing around the country. So we run regional meetings in each area where people can come along and discuss what it is they're struggling with around the Triangle of Care and get some hints and tips from one another. Okay, so we've got 31 mental health trusts join the scheme, 13 have achieved first gold star, so one of those is here, and six have achieved second gold star. And these are the resources, so everything for the Triangle of Care is actually on our website. We're a very paperless organisation at Carers Trust. So if you go on to the Carers Trust Professionals website, if you just Google Carers Trust Professional website, then it comes up. And within that is the Triangle of Care information. So you can download the document and print it off. It's got my manager doing a talk like this, so you can listen to it being done properly. And then it's got lots of examples of how other trusts have implemented the Triangle of Care around different regions. And for the dementia one that was done in conjunction with the Royal College of Nursing, there is some information on our website about it, but also the Royal College of Nursing have some good practice examples of how it's been rolled out in acute services as well. So I hope that's helped, quick ramble through the Triangle of Care. But main thing, just keep working with carers. And I'll hand over to Kevin.